Welcome to Off Grid Victory. So the last couple of weeks have been pretty crazy here, and of course it's been crazy worldwide, I guess. But we've had a little bit more time to do work, and so I was able to construct some of this. I was able to do some construction with some of this material that I got for free from a brother who's building a house. So a lot of this, including right there, that joist or the I-beam that supports different sections of a house, let's say the second floor, that's what I use mostly for this construction, and I'll show you that in a minute. And so here's 2x4s that had nails in it that I obviously took the nails out of, that I sometimes I had to separate them. A lot of this siding material, the Advantex stuff, whether it's for floor or siding, different thicknesses, and yeah, the lumber that was just all over the place for my house build. However, my friend here had a lot of it, and I was able to construct this, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And it is that. It's my I think this is the 3.0 version of the chicken coop that I've built over the years. And so anyway, the third iteration of what I have. Actually, you can see the first one actually I think you can see the first two that I did on YouTube. They should be up there. But this is the third one. And so most of this was constructed out of free recycled material that would have been just thrown away from a work site. And if it wasn't for this friend, I wouldn't have been able to get this material. And it helped him too, because it obviously helped to clean the work site up. And so yeah, most of these were made out of the I-joists, and there's a big old piece of pane glass there. That was from, one of my old houses. I didn't throw it away. It was double pane, and over the years a gasket in between kind of rotted out and the nitrogen was gone, and so I was able to split the pane and use one of them for this large window. The building itself is about 4 feet by 8 feet wide, a little bit more than that wide, and about 7 feet high on the back side there. And so, yeah, I mean, the only thing that I had to really buy was the hardware and a little bit of caulk. Even the paint I had on hand, so I'll show you that paint too. And of course, the tin roof or the galvanized steel roof I also had on hand, and I can show you that here. A lot of it was old stuff that I was going to probably take to the junkyard at some point, but I figured I could use it. And of course, I'll just paint it with some of my container reflective paint that I still have from my container painting. And so yeah, all of this was pretty much free. I mean, if I had to go buy this in terms of lumber, it would probably be about $400, something like that. I mean, it would be a sizable cost. Now, let me go ahead and show you the actual inside of it. But before that, let me show you how I did some of the wood in terms of using most of these I-joists or I-beams. So here's one of them, and let me just show you here what I did. I just cut a lip like this so that I can use it as a wall, and so now I have an overhang on the wall where the rain can run and drip off. And so yeah, here's an I-beam. So wall. All right, and so yeah, right here you can see that each one of these is an I-beam and a joist, and then they were tacked together in here somewhere, like I don't know, there's a screw right there, and then and then put together as a wall. And let me show you the paint that I used. This was the leftover paint I had. It's Olympic Max Rescue. It's decking paint, but I had a lot of it left over from previous projects that I've done on the land and over the years on a deck, staining a deck. And so I used that. And so yeah, let's go ahead and take a look. And even this handle, I found this you know, amongst all my goodies on my land. It was almost not quite rotted, but it was still usable, so I used it and I painted it. The hardware is from Harbor Freight, one of my favorite places to visit when I'm on a budget. Otherwise, I go to the big box store, Lowe's. Anyway, so this is these little holes here are for the chicken nesting areas, and there's one roost here. That's going to be the main one for the you know, the alpha types, the rooster, and this is going to be where they hop onto and utilize their nesting boxes. You can see the inside of it, or one of them. I'll show it to you from where we're going to actually collect the eggs. This main piece of flooring material was one of the few pieces that was not ripped and that I didn't have to splice together. So I debated on whether to use that for a roof or the floor. It made much more sense to use it on the floor. But even the roof up here, let me show you here, that's all been spliced together. That's probably about 4 or 8 pieces of OSB there. Anyway, so that is one roost. That's going to be the main one for the big guys. And this is, sorry, not the main one. That's going to be the secondary one. This will be the main one for all the other guys. And so it's removable. And the reason why I did it that way is I figured, well, you know, I'm going to have to clean off the floor and do that. And so having that kind of roosting area, and I would probably call that a balance beam almost, right? Like, you know, one of those gymnastic things. And it's a few inches off the ground, maybe like 5 inches off the ground, something like that. And it's just a split 2x4 that was left over. So anyway, so that's the inside of the coop. And let me just, wind's kicking up, so let me just bungee this thing. Hold on, bear with me here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, bungee was bought too, obviously, Harbor Freight. But the rear is the nesting box here, and that's what I want to show you next. So normally the way I made nesting boxes in the past was I just lifted up the top, put a hinge on the back side, and that worked really well. So you were able to peer into it and take the eggs. In this particular build, because I have it so high off the ground, and I'll tell you why I did that next. So these bottom, what do I call them? Pillars, or no, they're not quite pillars. Bases. Anyway, these bases are about 14 inches high. And the reason I did that was to give our chickens this. So underneath this entire chicken coop is an area where they can forage and take cover. And the reason why I want them to take cover is we have some flying predators like hawks and eagles around here, so I wanted to protect them from that. We are kind of in a forested area here a little bit, so they do have some cover from the trees, but really I wanted them to be out of the rain and get some really good protection from predators from the sky. This whole area will be fenced off, and so we won't have any nighttime predators, and if they do come, I mean, they're going to be inside the coop, so they'll be fine. So anyway, let's go to the next nesting box. So the design of this is to open it up and let the whole face side fall off or go down. And they're hinged, and the reason for that is then we can just go in here and collect the eggs, collect all the eggs out of there. This material, this OSB, I really don't like working with OSB. I try to always buy plywood, but you know, these are the things that you do when you get stuff for free, and you're trying to recycle and work kind of with what you have. And so in that sense, this project was very good. It taught me a lot of things in terms of recycling, reusing. I don't like using, bent, warped material. I really don't like using OSB, but there you go, we used it. And I think I'll probably end up putting a vapor barrier on top of this, and then I'll probably use the rest of that tin and just put a tin on top of it too to further protect it. Yeah, here it is. Here's nesting boxes, and I hope the chickens enjoy this. I hope the chickens really enjoyed it so much that I'll get a lot of chickens out of it, or eggs out of it, I should say. Maybe chickens too. But anyway, yeah, and we'll have to obviously put some kind of a thing in there to hold it in, but it works pretty well just as it is now. But yeah, that's the chicken coop. I think this is like the third iteration that I built over the years. But yeah, that's the chicken coop, and that's the chicken coop that was built for free, almost, right? The hardware probably cost me about $30 or so, maybe $40. I don't remember, but anyway, hardware is expensive as well. But most of it was free, and so we thank y'all. Hallelujah.